just like the level of professionalism, it's a different level out there. It's a different level. I don't even think back home here we're like 20% there.
Tio Nason, you owe your people an explanation. What was the last time we had the conversation? 2 years? One year ago?
I think so. It should be a little over a year. Because like the past 2 years I've been touring, so meaning I wasn't around. So it could be two. It could be.
How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
The feedback for that song, H man, you've been getting crazy feedbacks.
Yeah.
Seems like people missed your type of music like that because I've been seeing the comment section.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, let's do a highlight. Maybe the last 2 years from the time that we had the conversation. What have you been up to? Maybe a highlight apart from the tours. Other things that you've
a lot of work. I'm always learning stuff. I'm always trying to better myself, better my skills, better my creative skills as well. So I'm always learning. Even my whole period of touring the past 2 years, that was an awesome experience. Maybe I shouldn't take it for granted when I say touring. Maybe everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, I was on tour. I was on a world tour with Sampa the Great. We did a North American tour. We did Europe. We did South America. We did Australia, and also we got to tour and support Billie Eilish on her tours. So that was a beautiful experience, a lot of learning, and yeah, it's been beautiful. Glad to be back as well. I took a break off touring. I said, hey, let me give the people a little something.
I always want to get to find out from people like you, people that have been doing tours.
Yeah.
I always want to get to find out. I know there's always that thing that want to find out what are some of the things that you learned from the tour that you feel like you're bringing back home, that you feel other artists should also learn about.
Wow, I think just like the level of professionalism, it's a different level out there. It's a different level. I don't even think back home here we're like 20% there. You know, I mean, of course the world out there has the advantage of having systems in place, having been doing this for, close to a century. But yeah, we have a lot to learn. And one of the things as well that I can highlight that's just an umbrella of everything else is just professionalism. The level at which people do things out there, it's impeccable. Like it's
Can you break it down maybe? Which professionalism are you talking about?
With everything. Let's say even just coming for an interview. You know what I mean? Like even just a show. Like even when you're having a show, when you're attending a concert, when you're the artist that's playing, from you doing sound check. There's a set time for you to do sound check. For you doing the show as well, there's a set time. There's a set place where the artist is supposed to be. There's a way things are done. You can't do this, you can't do that. I think it's such a broad slate when it comes to like the level of which things are done in tiny little things, like tiny little steps that make up this whole machine that's just complicated. So I think all I can say is that what I can bring back home is to kind of also emulate that kind of professionalism. The problem I've noticed back home that we have is we usually take offense with professionalism. So sometimes it's hard. So let's say maybe I want PMC to show up for my video shoot. So, but then PMC is like, oh, okay, cool, no problem, my guy, I can show up, just talk to my PA, or just make sure you talk to my manager and arrange everything that needs to be done. Already, someone will be like, but PMC never even have to me that phone. Man knows that in the manager, but such things. And that's the level of offense people take with professionalism, and yet that's how things should be. Just the fact that I'm friends with you, we can talk and agree on something, that's fine, but as well, if there's a professional chain, that should be followed. So it doesn't mean when someone asks you to talk to their manager or their PA, or you're not friends anymore. You know what I mean? So I think those are one of the few things. Yeah.
Let's talk about now, 2023.
Yeah.
You give us that song.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I saw from the comment section, and you responded to it. I think you responded, or maybe you posted something, because I always pay attention to what people are saying.
Yeah.
Mutima.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With Chikondi.
Yeah.
Was it like? Is it like? These are questions that people have been asking. Is it like this song is another version of a part 2?
No. I actually just posted something saying, fun fact, like my first song to ever go like mainstream was Chikondi from 2010 back then. And then I said, funny enough, people used to call that song Mutima. Like a lot of people used to call that song.
Even the request on radio.
I like the song Mutima. I like the song Mutima.
Yeah.
So I think for me it was just a full circle moment. It's one of those things that you don't intend to do. Like it's just, just fate. So I think it's something that I figured I should highlight. And most of the people in the comments would be like, oh, like for real, I was telling a friend of mine saying he has a new song called Mutima, and the person was telling me, it's an old song, you don't know that song, it's like really old. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's because there was Unipase Mutima in Chikondi, so a lot of people just took that and started calling it Mutima.
Again, you dropped the song. Is it because you remember that people used to request for a song called Mutima?
No, not at all.
Or maybe just a coincidence?
No, not at all. You can't manage as a creative to live like that. Like you can't always. Well, I'll say this for myself. There are other artists that are always thinking strategy. Like, oh, when I do this, people are going to do this. I'm not that person. I'm not that kind of artist. I'm an artist that always goes with my conviction, my heart, what I feel strongly about. I'm not the numbers kind of person, like where I need to do this so that people should do this and then they'll respond like this. No, that's why even my track record since I started doing this music thing, everything I've released, even just a year ago, it's music that I love. You know what I mean? There's songs that most people don't even know about or don't even know I released, but I'm still proud of them, and I love them because I'm that kind of artist. Like for me, I put out art because I love it, So yeah, I'm not that kind of strategic artist.
The song is brand new. And one thing I come to appreciate about the Tio songs, your lyrical writing skill. It's like and you make it easy for the listeners to understand. It's like so catchy to a point that I'll listen to your song for the first time.
Yeah.
Then, have you ever been to a point where you're listening to a song, you feel like you've already listened to it, then you know the next word? That's what happens. Like it's a situation where I was listening to this song.
Yeah.
Was I maybe we'll come back to Hussein?
Yeah.
I expect you to say Kumazulu.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I hear you.
Is this like something that you also understand, saying, oh, so when I do this is how people are going to relate? Like, that's like genius, man. That's like, I don't even know.
I think it just comes from years of being passionate about what you love, man. Like you always find ways to deliver something in a new way. Like nothing's new under the sun, I'm sure there's tons of songs that sound like my song. Even just right now, the kind of sound that's out there, it's kind of common, but like as an artist, what you need to strive for is to take the familiar and make something new out of it. So I think for me, it just comes from years of just doing what I love, So yeah.
Let's talk about the language. You've been out there traveling tours.
Yeah.
If you wanted, you would have dropped something in maybe Chizungu, but you decided to keep it all local.
Yeah.
Why?
I think it was. I'll say something. I'll say this as well about the kind of artist I am. I'm the kind of artist that really. I'm the kind of person that really pays attention or is sensitive to seasons. So that's why I've never been offended with what people project towards me. Oh, why because I think for me I'm so sensitive to seasons, like my own personal seasons. So whatever I'm going through, you will hear it in my art. Whatever it is, so it just so happens that right now, like the season that I'm in is reflected in what I just gave you. That's the season that I'm in. 2 years ago, I did an EP. It was called Free Nason, and that was like a highlight reel of even just my journey of growth, my journey through, my spiritual life and my growth and understanding, the difference between religion and Christianity and all of that. And I put that all in an EP and put it out. So that was just like what I was going through. And so now I'm in this phase where, I think I'm just like content, and I feel, fuller than I've ever been. So I'm okay. If you want a song in English, maybe it's coming next week. So like for me, it's not like, oh, I can't do songs in English anymore. No.
Yeah. Anyways, it was great having a conversation with you today. Thank you very much for coming through and having a conversation with people. I know so many people missed you somewhere. I know you've been working. We understand that.
I have.
But there's always someone.
Maybe there's an EP on the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give us the information already? There's an EP, right? You're dropping an EP.
Yes.
This year.
Definitely this year. Let's see how it goes.
Let's go.